Welcome to Comparison is the Thief of Joy, a live call-in podcast that occurs every other Sunday at 6 p.m., where we talk about life and my journey through it. And while I do the podcast, I like to paint. So each podcast will have a corresponding artwork that'll go to it. Feel free to call in by downloading the Podbean app, grabbing your cell phone, and a set of headphones. It's open topic, never feel any pressure. Comparison is the Thief of Joy is available on all major streaming platforms, and my artwork can be found on my Instagram, Comparison is the Thief, or DonnieSun82.myportfolio.com for purchase. Enjoy. Ray, are you ready?
Let's do that.
The name of today's show, well, number one, this is Comparison is the Thief of Joy, a live call-in podcast, and I like to paint while I do the podcast. Feel free to call in. All you need is the Podbean app, a set of headphones, and an open mind. So the name of today's show is, I believe it's a friendship made with murder, in murder. Let me go look it up and I'll tell you. But Darius, introduce yourself to the people. Let them know who you are.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Darius Davis, founder and CEO of Davis Insight LLC, a digital marketing agency here in Houston, Texas. All I am is a guy that desires to connect people to the right resources. And resources can come in many different ways. It can come through money. It could come through property, things, content, different things, but I really think of people as resources. And so I like to connect people to people. You know, one can go and do something great, but when two people put their minds together, you can go and you can conquer even greater. And so I might not have all the tools for myself, but let me connect you to somebody who do. And so in this season, I'm all about getting with the masters. You know, we have a lot of gurus out there, but let's get with the masters so that we can accomplish things right the first time. So that's what my whole business is connecting people to the right resources, not just any resource, the right one.
But how did you decide that was something you wanted to do?
Man, honestly, it came because I felt as if there was a lack of that. That was something that I was in search for. I was coming up. I was working in health, and I was wanting to start my own business, but I didn't know what that process looked like. And so I was like, where are the people that are out here connecting you to information? And then I was like, you know what? I don't necessarily just want somebody to connect me to information. I want somebody that's going to walk me through this process because they've been through the process. And so that's kind of what I was in searching for. And so, many of you will find out through this podcast, I am a believer, love the Lord. And so in one of my prayer times, God told me, He said, you are looking for an answer, but you are the answer. And so therein lies connecting individuals to the right resources. I'm an answer. The thing that I was looking for, God was building me up and preparing me by allowing me to read and gather information and put it in a hub in order to distribute that to everyone else. So he was like, you're the answer. You're going to be what you're looking for to other people.
Now, this hub, where is it at?
So you can find this at www.davisinsight.com, and you reach out through there. I have a lot of information on my website. Everything by getting connected to the website and sending that inquiry. I have material that we give on the back end to help
Okay.
you in whatever niche that you want.
Okay. I see. So, in connecting people, that goes
Yeah.
back to the previous topic, right? What
Mm-hmm.
this show is called a friendship built on murder, right? And so
Mm,
there is a this is based off a quote by John D. Rockefeller, and it says a friendship built on business can be glorious, while a business built on friendship can be murder. So over the last few weeks in preparation for an event that I want to do, I've
mm-hmm.
been digging through some old podcasts. And while I've been digging through some old podcasts, I stumbled upon one, and I don't know if you ever heard it. It was called Life Lessons, right? And it was
Mm,
just a group of things that I figured out in my almost 40 years on the planet. And I'll go through them real quick for you guys. One was don't let anybody live with you. Don't give out rides, right? Don't lend out money. And the last one was do not do business with friends.
mm,
Every time that I've ever done any type of business with friends, it's always been nothing short of a disaster, right? And
mm,
what whatever gain came from the business relationship, it never matched up with the damage that it caused to the friendship later down the road. Now, I can't say that I've never done any type of business with friends on any capacity, but I will say this. Generally speaking, when it comes to doing any type of business with friends, I have limitations, right? I usually try to keep it under $100 and or whatever money I'm willing to lose. And I generally won't do it for services, but I will do it for goods, right? Like if you have a
mm.
book, I'll buy you a book.
Yeah.
Um, if you got a shirt or something that's an instantaneous exchange, but anything that comes that could possibly be litigious to any degree, has an extended period of time, it's just never worth it. I got a really, I just got a lot of different scenarios that all played out really poorly to the point now that if a friend comes to me with a business idea, I just pretty much flat out tell them that it's not something I'm interested in because I value the friendship so much, I just won't do it. Uh, Yeah, and that's really what today's show is about to see if I'm the only person that's ever had those type of issues doing business with friends. Are there any tips, recommendations outside of, $100 services and goods? How about you, Darius? Have you had any experiences with that?
I have. I
Okay.
have. I've had a couple of experiences with doing business with friends and um, doing the process of building the business. So I will say it is possible. I don't want to have the mentality that it's not possible. It
Mm-hmm.
is possible.
Mm-hmm.
But there are stipulations that come along with it. You do have to have rules and guards when you enter into that type of relationship. And that's with anybody.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I like to start out with saying, let's do the free stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't even really like to think about money in the sense at the beginning of starting a business because one, they're your friends, so you already know their work ethic,
Mm-hmm.
and then two, you know how they are as individuals,
Right.
and so I had a situation where me me and a buddy we were starting a podcast together,
Mm-hmm.
and I really think that the podcast could thrive. I still think that it could thrive. We both are funny, have great content. We both have different perspectives on in life and on life that could add to the podcast. But one thing that really set us apart was we both didn't give the same energy at certain times at the same
Mm-hmm.
time. And I think that's where the dangerous part is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when you don't give the same energy, there were times where I was so busy in the week that I couldn't give my 110% for the podcast. When he was giving 110%, there was times when he wouldn't give 110% because he had things going on and I was ready. And so when you don't have unity, I've learned that you cannot prosper. That you'll have more disagreements than you have um, anything else.
Right.
And so I had to kind of put guards up, and both of us, we put guards up and like, okay, we're gonna meet on these days, and we're not gonna cancel these days. We're gonna
Mm-hmm.
do this and that, but there is also you have to guard. Yeah, I'm gonna get in trouble for this, but I'm an open and honest guy. I'm an
Yeah.
open and honest guy, So you cannot be jealous of the other person,
Hmm. Okay.
and especially in friendships when you know the person, because I don't know about anybody else, but me when I get in work mode, I'm a different person than relaxed Darius. And so I am always in a state when I'm working that I have to do my best and be my best. And so that can cause a divide when your friend who knows you can say, well, you're not being you,
Mm-hmm.
but they're used to you being in this relaxed state. They're used to
Right.
you being on this end. The professional side has to kick in.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I mean too about energy. When you're going into business, that that takes a different type of energy. That takes a different type of hustle. That takes a
Right.
different type of mentality.
Mm-hmm.
And so, um, the podcast it took very minimum amount of money, but it took time and it took energy. And so through that, I was like, okay, let's gauge how we handle this. If we can't handle this small thing, time and energy, how can we handle a big business, growing the business beyond this
Right.
and being consistent?
Right.
So,
Well, and the thing about that too is, and it's a conversation that business partners rarely have in the beginning because it's
hmm
assumed, right? And the assumption is that y'all are both on the same page of where you want this thing to go. And the
right,
reason I say that is because when people are in conflict, when they talk to me about what they want to do with their life, what their goals are, I ask them the same question every time. You know, is it time or is it money? Some people value money more than they value their time, and some people value their time more than they value their money, right? Well, say you value money. And your vision for the podcast or the business is for it to
Mhm.
turn over $200,000 a year, where my vision is for it to make $50,000 to $60,000, just enough so I can live, have a good life,
Right,
relax, and chill.
right,
Well, just like you said, the energy towards that is going to be completely different.
yeah,
I might just hop on whenever I feel like hopping on. You might want to get on every 4 days a week and put all kind because you're expecting something different. But we go into these business dealings thinking that we both have the same thoughts surrounding it,
yeah. So true,
and usually wrong.
so true. Yeah.
but, but the question is, what do you do about it, right? If you could do it all over again, what would you do different with the podcast?
Honestly, man, it will be establishing early on
Mm-hmm.
um, the consistency. And for me, I'm always I'm always trying to take account of what could go wrong in the future. So I'm always trying to plan ahead.
Hmm.
And so, like you're saying, having that communication at the beginning, sitting down, saying, okay, what is our goal in this, out of this, you know? And that is a conversation that we had down the line. But like you're saying, when your goals are not aligned, that it causes, you know, foolishness.
Hmm.
And so having that conversation ahead of time before you put it out there for the world to see, because we just had the ideal and was like, man, this would be great. We can talk about this, and I had already started seeing a difference because I'm a little more again planned out. He, on the other hand, was like, hey, I just wanted to be spontaneous, just like our phone calls. We just get on here and we talk. And I'm like, but we have to understand who's our target audience. Who are we trying to reach? And like you said, what is our goal? So I think for me, I would have put my foot down. I would have had that communication earlier, and I would have put my foot down because me, the type of person I am, I don't like to be confrontational. And so what I will do is I'll yield. I'll go low so that the other person can get what they want. But when you are coming into a business where both of y'all are partners and have equal amount of um, the equal amount of authority in the business, you have to be confident in yourself
Right.
and say, this is what I want. And you have to accept. And I think that leads into a great conversation about the the fact of wanting to please your friend. And I think we have to be confident and we have to be okay with if this business decision, if y'all have two different visions for it, it's okay to say it's not the time or this is this is not the business that we need to be doing.
Correct.
And so that was something that I had later on after we had already done a couple episodes. I had to say, okay, no, for the sake of our friendship, this is something that we can't do together
Right.
because it's already having me where I'm ready to walk off,
Right.
you know. And it was nothing bad. Friendship is still there, um, but it just when you get into a business with a friend, it reveals who they are,
Right.
and so
I
then
agree.
stuff that you start overlooking in the
Hmm.
friendship, you you start seeing it, and you're like, go ahead.
No, I'm listening. I'm just listening. I'm soaking up game right now. Keep going.
No, yeah.
But
So that's
that's
it. I
it's very similar to like a marriage or any kind of relationship, right? Things that
absolutely.
seem small, if
Yep.
they're not addressed or may seem like minor irritations, you need to pay attention to those things because they
Hmm.
become more pronounced
Yep.
as time goes by. Like for me, and I've had to take some time to really figure this out. Um, I've come to the conclusion that I don't believe God wants me to enter into uh, a business relationship with anybody. And what I mean by that is I can do dealings with people, right? But as far as me and somebody else coming together to make one thing, and there's a couple of reasons why I believe that. One, I'm pretty hard to deal with, right? And the reason I'm hard to deal with is because number one, when I have my mind made up to do something, that's just what I'm going to do, right?
Hmm.
And the way that my mind works is that I don't know how I would best explain this, but I talked about it one time in a previous episode about time travel, right? So I
Mhm.
believe that certain individuals have the ability to time travel, right? And what I
Mhm.
mean by time travel is bringing something in the future that doesn't currently exist into the present. For
Yeah.
example, the plane or a cell phone. Trying to explain that to somebody who's never seen one, it'd be difficult. And you would
Mm.
waste more time trying to explain to them this invention or thought that you have as opposed to just going out and building it and doing it. Well, I'm that type
Mm.
of person, right? And so it I'm not always able to articulate which way I'm going, but I have a vision in my head, and it's hard for me
Right.
to explain sometimes, but that's the route I'm going. Well,
Yeah.
the other person might not think that way, and they might not like the timetable that I'm going on. And even though I do like to concede and acquiesce sometimes,
Mhm.
when I'm doing my own thing, I want to do my own thing. You know what I'm saying? I want to do
Yeah.
it the way
Yeah.
I want to do it. I do enough of
Right.
that, of conceding and acquiescing to people at work. I don't want to do it with this
Mm.
podcast, right?
Yeah.
Anybody can be a guest on this podcast, anybody on the planet, right?
Right.
But
Right.
not a single soul is going to be a solidified guest co-host consistently. It just is
Mm.
never going to happen. I would even go as far, I have a buddy of mine, he's on the phone. I would even go as far as to pay my homeboys if it ever got big enough. Um,
Mhm.
but it'd be a set limit, and you're not. This is like the Joe Budden. This is mine.
Yeah.
How I want to do it, when I want to do it, how long I want to do
Mhm.
it. And I know I sound
Mhm.
pretty arrogant, but that's just the truth.
Hey, hey, I'm all for that to a certain degree. To a certain degree.
Okay, give it to me. What's the
And
degree?
I say that because there there are times,
Hmm.
and this is why I say about connecting individuals to the right resources.
Hmm.
You know, we as individuals, we can have a mindset on how we want to drive it. We can have a mindset how we're going to pursue and build this dream. But nobody can really build their dream on their own. And so like you're saying about, I know you're saying like you're not going to limit other people or push them out where they don't have any type of say. So you're saying just nobody's going to have ownership of it. It's just, for me, I'm always in a place of receiving, hey, or asking for wisdom per
Hmm.
se. If I have a business idea or something, I'm like, hey, what do you think about this? Let me get your perspective,
Right.
especially people that I value, which is why I say the right resources. People
Hmm.
who I value, who you know is gonna add value and not drain from
Right.
you. So
No, and
so
that's like
yeah.
I'm very comfortable with
Mhm.
constructive criticism, right? But
Mhm.
with it only just being that, right? With you giving me your
Right.
feedback and what you
Yeah.
think, and then me deciding if I want to take it or not. Versus,
Mm. Yeah.
I think one thing, you think
Right.
something totally different, and
Right.
now we have to concede because
Yes.
or come to some kind of middle road
Right.
that, and to me, generally, man, generally when I've been in those type of situations, especially when it comes to creative endeavors, I think
Yes.
there we go. That's the issue. I'm a
Mhm.
creative. I like writing
Yes, sir.
poems. I like making songs. I like doing
Right.
podcasts. I like doing art. And it's a very free, that I think I'm hitting on what the issue is. It's a very
Right.
free expression for me. It's not to be constrained. It's not to be confined. It's
Yeah.
not to be tamed. It's not to be directed. So if I have to do a song with somebody and they want to put it, to me, it feels like a box.
Mhm.
I ain't gonna want
Right.
to do it. I
Mhm.
did a podcast with somebody else before, and
Mhm.
one of the things that bothered him was I jumped around in my speech.
Mhm.
Like I would jump from topic to topic. That's how I
Mhm.
am in real life.
Yeah.
That's just how my brain works. I
Right.
cannot, I can't turn it off, and
Yeah.
I can't turn myself into something else. Um, If it were something that was strictly business,
Right.
I would be better at it. I could do
Mm-hmm.
better in a business relationship, like if it was open up a barber shop.
Mm-hmm.
I could deal with that,
Right.
but not a mixtape.
Yeah. Right.
Right. Because the creativity. And, just knowing you on another level and seeing how you operate, you have a lot of vision with your creativity. And so I know bringing somebody in, which is why we talked again at the beginning about energy, having the same energy, having the same mindset on where you're going to go, how much effort you're going to be putting into it. Why that is such a big deal is because if you're not there with me mentally and creatively,
Mm-hmm.
everything that you say is going to be mediocre. And
Right.
that's where I am too, which is why I completely understand
Mm-hmm.
about wanting my own, wanting
Right.
to be the visionary. I don't one I want to be the visionary because I have big aspirations, big
Mm-hmm.
dreams. When the way that my gift is just if I think of something creative, God gives me the strategy on how I'm going to pursue it. And
Mm-hmm.
so, like you're saying, driven. Once you set your mind to it, you do it. So anybody who is trying to come against it, see if you add value to that and be like, man, hey, you can do this to another level. Kind of like how we have conversations when we're bouncing ideas. It's never like, I would not do that. It's always, hey, man, it could be even greater if you do
Right.
this,
Right.
adding value as opposed to bringing you down saying that you can't do it. That
Nah.
negativity, that negativity
Yeah.
is the thing that causes us to say this is why we don't want to work with anybody
Yep.
because you're thinking too mediocre.
Yeah. Now you done hit on. Now you done. You got me
Come on,
livened up.
say it with my chest. Come on.
Now that thing right there is something, and this is the only word that I can use, I have come to detest, right?
Yeah.
When you come
Yeah.
up with something, any idea, and somebody's immediate
Yep.
reaction is to go into telling you why it won't work. The
Yeah.
only thing I want to hear from somebody, right,
Mm-hmm.
is not
Mm-hmm.
how it won't work. I
Right.
want you to tell me how to make it better and how I can get to my goal quicker. And if you
Yes.
don't know, I kind of want you to shut up, right?
Shut up.
Shut up. And I mean, like, I can't, like, you told me you want to do a podcast, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't sit here and tell you, oh, the market's all saturated. No. I would
Right.
tell you what microphone to buy, what different
Mm-hmm.
things that I've run into that you
Right.
might run into and how to avoid them. But I wouldn't go around telling you all the reasons why going into a podcast is a waste of time and money. I don't
Right.
do that. I don't like being around people who do that. And I've really learned to just, and this is something my wife has had to tell me, and it's something I had to learn. I'm a talker,
Mm-hmm.
right? I do like to talk.
Mm-hmm.
I do like sharing my ideas with people. And she told me
Yeah.
sometimes you got to stop.
Come on.
Because there are people out there who just love to squash people's dreams. And I talk about dream killers a lot
Yes.
because I didn't realize how many of them there are. And
Yeah.
like when I met you for the first time, right? When
Mm-hmm.
I met you for the first time, I knew you were a bright young man within the first. It didn't take me long, like two,
Mm-hmm.
3, 4 minutes. People can see um,
Yeah.
when somebody has a light. Something when people can see when somebody's greater than their current situation. It doesn't take long. Well, I was
Right.
watching a YouTube video about envy, and it says
Mm-hmm.
that people use envy the wrong way.
Mm.
So, generally, when people have an envious feeling, ABC7, I wonder if that's really ABC. Anyway, when some people have an envious feeling, all they do is take it, twist it, and they wish for the person not to succeed. What envy truly is and how it's actually supposed to be used. If you are envious of something, all that means is that's the thing that you actually want.
Come on.
I can be transparent for a moment. When I
Right.
see creatives out there making money just doing what they love, just doing what they like, I don't know how much money they're making. I get
Yeah.
that slight twinge. I get that twinge in me that's like, damn, I wish I could. Now, even though I make good money,
Right.
inside my spirit and inside my heart, I want to make money as an artist.
Right.
That is a difficult thing to say out loud, because when you say it out loud and decide that's the route you're going to take, you got to put it all out there. And
Come on.
for anybody that's a creative, that's a hard thing to do, because we're very sensitive about our art. I mean, very sensitive, because you make it for the people to be judged by the people. No matter what we say, that it doesn't matter. We don't care what people think. I got a news flash for you. Every artist of any kind cares what people think.
Oh, yes.
Period. Every artist of any kind, if they had it their way, would make money off the thing that they love. And that's the truth. We tell ourselves different to appease ourselves. But I was actually reading a book from the next podcast. It's called Archetypes by Carolyn Miss. And she said everybody has different archetypes and different journeys for those archetypes. And that's the artist journey, is they have to admit to themselves that that's what they want to do out of their life, because if they don't accept it, it's going to keep coming back and it's going to keep manifesting in different ways. As long as I've known myself, I've always wrote poems. I've always drawn. I mean, forever.
Yeah.
So no matter how far removed I get from it, it comes right back.
Yeah.
Every single time.
Yeah, that's so good, man. I know for me, like you're saying, there came a point in my life where I accepted the fact that I was born and that my purpose was tied to others. And as much as I wanted to say I don't care about their opinions and all of that, once I understood that I was born to meet the need of somebody else, or I was born to inspire somebody else, everything changed in my life. Like, I have people who laugh at me because I live my life as if I'm on a reality show. Like, I'm that guy that looks off at the camera when something funny happens, because I've built this habit of living my life so that other people can get inspired. I don't do certain things because I don't want to promote certain stuff for certain people. And it's a difficult place to be. One of the prayers that I always pray is, God, make me an example. And so, um, not only am I an example where people are looking to me, but I'm looking at all these different other creators, like you said, influencers, and I, I respectfully, I agree with you about using the word envy. I just don't prefer to use the word envy because envy has the negative connotation. Yes, it is a plain statement, but it has a negative connotation. I want what you have, but I want it to a certain degree that I detest you. So it's nothing, and I tell people this all the time, it's nothing wrong with being inspired by somebody else.
Right.
I don't envy you. It's not that I don't want what you have. I do want all these people on social media that's living their best life, and they're living their dream. Like you said, like running their own business, having autonomy. I have a friend, and I talk about this all the time. He called me 8 o'clock in the morning and was like, "Hey man, let's go play basketball." He got his own business.
Right.
Let's go play basketball. I was getting dressed to go to my 9 to 5. And I was so heartbroken because I don't have the autonomy to do what he has the autonomy to do. I'm not envious of him. Why? Because I know I can have it.
Mm.
And see, we step into envy when we detest them because we know we can't achieve. We don't believe that we can achieve what they have. And I said this before um, to some people. I said the thing for man is if you don't understand it or if you believe that you can't have it, you either fear it or you try to kill it.
I think Nas
And
said that one time.
Nas said that too. Come on, hey, we all in this thing.
I think it was
It's
on.
nothing new under the sun.
I am. On the I am.
Uh
What
huh.
was that song he did with Puffy? I can't remember. You Can Hate Me Now. And it said, man
Yeah.
tries to feel what they can't, tries to kill what they can't understand.
Hey, nothing new under the sun. But so I never really stepped into, and that was my whole point. I never really stepped into envy because I know that the vision and the purpose that is inside of me, I am going to be in that place one day where I'll have the autonomy to do whatever I want, when I want, and how I want,
Right.
and with the finances.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm inspired. And so a lot of times, again, when you don't have the right mentality on it and you don't believe that you can achieve it or you can do the same thing, you look at it from a negative lens. You look at like, well, why they out there bragging? You know,
Mm.
why they doing this? When it's no. For me, how I always look at it is it's possible. Come on, we deal with a society. Go ahead,
No,
because
no,
I can
keep
go.
going. No, no, keep going.
No.
You got some steam. Keep going. Preach.
we hey, it comes out.
I see
We
you.
deal
Go
with a
ahead.
society. We deal with a society that we get into this place of um, believing the lies of the enemy,
Mm.
believing that we can't do something because again we're in a microwave society where
Right.
we feel as if we have to have it now. So if we don't see it now, then we feel like, oh, it's not in our wheelhouse. It's not in our for our purpose to have it.
It's not for
But
us because it didn't
it's
happen
not
in
for
our
us.
life.
Come on. But it's not that. I try to keep myself constantly in this place that even though I don't have it now, that does not mean that I'm not gonna have it.
That's right.
And when we don't understand that, then that's where we fail in our identity and we look for our identity through other people. You ever heard people say, well, I live my life through them, and oh,
Mm.
I live my life through you. That's because you stop believing in your dream.
Mm.
I pray that I never get to that place where I start looking at other folk saying, I'm living my life through you. No, I have one life and it is my life and I'm going to pursue my life.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No,
Go ahead.
man, you're giving me so much energy right now. That's why I love having these conversations with you. And it's something I've also had to realize with changing of
Yeah.
circles, right? Because some of the conversations that me and you have, to
Hmm.
somebody who's not living in their truth, to
Yeah.
someone who's not pursuing their dreams, they can seem like bragging, right? When you're just talking about, oh, I'm
Yeah.
doing this and this and this. Well, I'm doing this and
Right.
this and this. It feeds. It's the nature
Yep.
of the beast. What you feed, it eats, right? And
Hmm.
it helps, it motivates, but it depends on what lens you're looking at, right? If you're
Right.
looking at it from that lens that you're talking about, that I can't succeed, you feel like
Hmm.
that person is just rubbing it in your face. Like, oh,
Hmm.
that's all he talked about is how good he's doing
Yeah.
and how great he's doing. And I guess you're so caught up in your current surroundings. And that's where the enemy gets you, right? Where the
Yeah.
enemy gets you is he convinces you that your current is your forever, that this is
Mm.
it. This is the best you're going to do. This is the best you're going to be. So
Yeah.
get into self destructive behaviors. I know me, like when I was not living in my purpose and I
Hmm.
was making like $13 an hour, I got
Yeah.
into this really vicious cycle. And the cycle was I'd be depressed about my surroundings.
Yeah.
Instead of doing something about it, I go out and drink. I'd wake up with less energy because I drank all night.
Yeah.
And then my situation would get worse because I also spent all my money. And then it just created this loop of never achieving, but not realizing that the never achieving was by my own doing. Like right now, I don't watch, you can ask my wife, I don't really watch any TV.
Yeah.
I gave away my PlayStation 4, and I've had every single game system literally since the Nintendo. But then one day I woke up, maybe about
Yeah.
3-4 years ago, and realized that I was the king of nothing, right? That you can't go into a board meeting, you can't talk to your friends about being the king. The Texans made it to the Super Bowl 20 times in Madden. That's not an accomplishment of life.
Right.
And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with video games. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with television, but there's something that I started to notice the more I put energy into myself. And the thing that I started to notice is, why is it when you're doing something negative or unproductive, like watching TV or whatever it is, no one has it, or even diet, right? No one has anything to say if you were to eat ice cream all day and watch
Come
TV
on.
all day. But the moment that you say, no, I'm going to start eating low carb and working out every day. Oh, you tripping. Why is that?
Yeah.
Why is all of a sudden when you're doing something positive, you get all this negative feedback? And at first I couldn't understand it.
Yeah.
But then what I started to realize is because it made a mirror, right?
Yep.
It made a mirror. Like I had this one guy, I remember I was at work. He was drinking a soda or a diet soda. And I was like, hey, man, you shouldn't drink those. They have all kind of artificial. He's like, well, I'm sorry, man. Not everybody was born swole. And I was like, dude, you saw me 2 years ago. I was fat and out of shape, and I just put in the work. And you knew me.
Right.
So it's not like so like you can save that. Throw that out the window. But people don't like that. We like to think that people that are high achievers had a leg up. Something was, some kind of reason that, or some kind of magical thing that we didn't get, that if we had X magical thing, we would. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
People don't look at Kobe. All they see is the end result of like somebody like Kobe Bryant. But you hear story after story after story about this guy's work ethic.
Yeah.
Unmatched, right?
Yeah.
But people think that they're just going to wake up and it's going to be, I'm just going to be with no direction, no plan.
Come on.
They're just supposed to make it to their goal. They're this end game, but they don't even know what the end game is. And even when I was listening to one of my old podcasts, I was listening to it on the way to the grocery store, and I hear stuff. I'm like, oh, I forgot about that. I tell people, if you are feeling uncertain in life and you don't know which way you're going, stop. Stop for 1 second. Sit down, regardless of where you're currently at, and just think about how you want your life to look. And when I say think about how you want your life to look, think about it all. Think about what time you're going to wake up, what time you're going to work, what you're doing for work. Are you working? What environment? I'm talking about down to the shoes that you're putting on as you go to the bathroom of your choice. And now it sounds elaborate, right? But the reason why is once you flesh that out in your head, work backwards, right?
That's
now,
so good.
What's the first thing I would need to, like, if you said, okay, I want to be a millionaire. Okay. Well, how would you want to do it? Oh, I guess by doing the podcast. Okay. Well, if it's by doing the podcast, what you have to do? Well, I guess I have to get more people to listen to it. Well, how would you do that? I guess I promote it better. I guess I get better sound quality. You see what I'm saying? You start going down this rabbit hole, and you start to realize the answers are there, and you actually know the answers. You just have to write them all out, because I have the firm belief if it's what you're supposed to be doing, you can be what you want to be the way that you want to be it.
Yep.
You just have to, like you said, believe in yourself. And such a vital part is to write it down, right? And the reason I say to write it down for the people who never heard it before, My dad used to tell me this all the time. If you want to achieve your goal, write it down. Write it down.
Yeah.
Write it down. And I was like, man, that's some hokey pokey, boo, right?
Right.
Well, a few months ago, I sat there and I wrote it down. I wrote down everything I wanted, how I wanted it. And then all of a sudden, it's like my brain turned on. Just went, and I was like, what? And then I started going into gear and I was like, well, how is this happening? And then I realized, all of us go through school for the most part from 0 to 12th grade.
Yeah.
When your teacher gives you a book to start reading it, do you retain all the information? No. You just flip through the pages and, whatever. It's not until the teacher gives you the blueprint for the test. And what's the first thing you do when you get the blueprint? You open the book and you start making notes. So if you're taught this didactically, and the moment you start making those notes is when your brain says, oh, Darius is serious about this. I need to commit it to memory. Well, plans and goals are the same way. If you don't write them down, your brain just assumes that you're not taking it serious. It doesn't give your brain a reason to start figuring it out.
Right.
Because that's what the brain is designed to do, which is why some people, they have a problem that they're thinking about, they go to sleep, they wake up, they have the answer. And that's the difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. If you're in a fixed mindset and you tell your brain there is no answer, well, your brain's going to be like, all right, well, he's made it. There is no answer. There's no way of getting out of this. Might as well stop.
Yeah.
But if you tell your brain, I'm not stopping till you give me an answer, guess what? Your brain's not going to stop until you get, it's just not going to stop. Like how many times have somebody said, and I'll let you go, I know I'm just ranting. Like when you're sitting around and you're like, what was the name of that movie? And you don't have your phone on you or whatever. And you sit there for days thinking about what was the name. And so if your brain would do something like that for something that small, it'll do it for your goals. Go ahead.
No, yeah, just like you said, I'm in one of them processes now. I was talking to my girlfriend. I had sung a song over the weekend, and then I was trying to remember what song it was that I was singing. Went on my phone trying to find it, and I was like, "Come on, you gonna remember this? You gonna remember this?" So I'm going on day 3, and I'm still trying to figure it out. But what you said is so key. I One of the things that I do with any business that I take on is I first tell them, if you had unlimited resources, if you had all the money in the world, if you knew the right person, what would you do? How would you live? Write it down.
Okay.
What would your business look like? And this is something that God did with me. If you had all the resources, all the money in the world, you had all the people, write down what you would want your business to look like.
Some people really struggle with that.
Come on.
Some people, I've met people, I've posed a similar question and they push back and like, well, that's not possible. I'm like, what? I'm like, this is fantasy world. This is fiction. Just give, and then you see the glaze kind of go over their face. Like, they've said the words, but they've never sat down and thought about them. They've never actually, because the thing is, I've never met a person with a plan that didn't get it. I personally have never, and I challenge people with this question all the time. I said, okay, let me ask you a question. When have you ever went balls to the walls? I'm talking about eat, sleep, breathe, dedicate every moment, everything that you can think of to this thing and didn't get it. I've had some people like, oh, that's happened to me. I'm like, no. I'm not talking about half-assing it. I'm not saying that you just talked about it a lot. I'm talking about every penny that you've earned, every free spare moment that you had, you went for this thing and didn't get it. I ain't met the person yet. I literally haven't. But somehow I think we as a people have a fear
Come on, that's it.
that you're going to do all this, you're going to put yourself into it, and you're going to fail.
Fail.
And then all the people who had something to say about you were right. But here's a question, right? Who are these people, right? Who are these people that if, like, for example, me and you, if you went balls to the walls, and I mean, you put out your magazine, your podcast, and it failed, what do you think the response from me would be? Pick back up, let's do it again.
Come on, yeah,
let's do it
that's
again.
it.
Punch you in the chest. I wouldn't be like, see, I told you.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, the people that are like, I told you, I like that voice. I might use it. I told you so. Well, they were never in your corner to begin with. They already thought poorly of you to begin with. And even if you succeeded, they were going to say the same things. So why does it, like for me, for example, I was in nurse practitioner school. I talk about this all the time. And I didn't like it when I got to the clinical portion so much that I was starting to lose interest and I failed out. Well, some people were coming to me like, I guess they thought maybe I was supposed to be embarrassed or something like that. And I was like, what am I embarrassed about? And because they wanted me to feel like I failed. And it's like, no. Yeah. I don't even believe in failure anymore.
Everything's just learning.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Absolutely. And, I think a big part of it is knowing who you are. And that's where we are in this society. I believe we're struggling with an identity crisis. We don't know who we are. And then, really, for believers, we don't know whose we are. And this is why I say that the Lord sat me down and said, okay, if you had all the money in the world, all the resources, all the people that could connect you, what would you do? He said, for me to dream about that, write all of that, what would you see your business? Would you multi-million be a multi-millionaire? You'll have a multi-million-dollar business. And so he had that, and then he took me over to the scripture that said, I can do above and beyond what you could ask, think, or imagine. So the biggest thing that you could think of that you would want, the biggest dream that you could dream that you would want your business, God says, I can do above that. And so it brought me back down to this place of knowing who I am and whose I am. Because I realized in that moment, I have the one that owns the cattle on the hill. I have the one that created the universe on my side. If God be for me, who can be against me? And so it brought me back to this place where I begin to hold my head up and say, you know what? I can achieve. Why? Because God is on my side.
Yeah.
God is my friend. I can pull from him. So, like you're saying, all these haters sipping on that haterade, it does not matter because you have no power over me.
And they really don't.
Come on.
They really don't.
And for an example, the day that you called me to ask me that we were talking on the phone, I was actually written up at work. You don't even know, but you encouraged me with that conversation. I was written up at work, but that morning the Lord woke me up and told me that he said my hour had come for something. I didn't know what it was. I thought that I was going to be fired. I'm going to be honest with you. I thought that I was going to come to work and I was going to be fired. But God was saying, where is your faith? Is your faith in the job or is your faith in me? So that morning, when God took me to the scriptures and I was praying and seeking God in devotion, that morning, I was like, God, whatever your will be done. I thought again that I was gonna be fired. I was ready to get that whatever it was, take my love, pack my office up, come home, and I was saying to myself, yes, because now I can pursue the business that God wants me to pursue. I honestly feel like at this point in my life, my corporate job is holding me back from pursuing my dream. And so I was ready to walk away from it all and not care. And like just going back to what you're saying about everything is a lesson, everything in life you're learning and experiences. Some people may have looked at if I had been let go as a failure. Oh, you were doing wrong. You were doing this. I was ready to look at that situation as this is God propelling me into my destiny. How many millionaire billionaires do you know was let go of the at their job? Look at Oprah. Oprah talked about how she was let go from I believe she worked at Wendy's. She was let go of her job, but it propelled her into her destiny. And so I think just being in this place of knowing who we are, knowing that whose we are, what we have in our corner, extending our faith to believe that we're going to succeed at any cost, because we got to have sacrifice. So believing that we're going to succeed, it puts us back in this place in this mode of I really don't care what you define as not succeeding. This is the definition that I have as succeeding.
You know, it's really funny that you say that. So, I've been in my current role for about a year and some change. I can't say what, but you know what it is.
Yeah.
And man, I
Hmm.
from failing out of nurse practitioner school and doing the job that I'm doing now, I've run into so many hurdles, so many
Yeah.
moments where I've woken up and be like, I can't do this. I'm gonna fail. Like this is gonna
Yeah.
all go to crap. And then I
Right.
think the same thought every single time, and it gives me the energy to go to the next step. And it's like, why would God bring you this far to fail?
Come on.
That's what always centers me, because everything up to this point over the last 20 years, some people call it luck, some people
Yeah.
call it favor, but it definitely hasn't been by my own doing. It's been
Yeah.
systemic, and every time I'm about to fall off, I come back up, fall off,
Yeah.
come back up. And I'm
Hmm.
like, do you really think that God would craft this master plan for you just for
Yeah.
at the end to kick you in the teeth?
Come
So
on.
for me, no matter what happens, no matter how it plays out, because so many things in my life have been
Yeah.
like this, you, at the moment, it feels like the worst thing ever. But
Yeah.
then as time goes by and you look back at it, you're like, geez, this was great. Like, what's the
Yeah.
phrase? Someone's rejection is really just God's protection.
Come on. That's
Because a
it.
lot of times we won't get off the roller coaster ourselves. I remember I
Mm-mm.
was fired from this one job called Telecheck. They laid me
Mm-hmm.
off on my birthday, cold.
Mm.
Well, at the time, it was really upsetting. But I was
Yeah.
only making like $11 an hour. And at the
Yeah.
time, the early 2000s, if they hadn't done that, I probably would have still been there.
Yeah.
Just kind of, because it was just enough, weekends off, so
Right.
on and so forth. But it pushed me to go back to school, so on and
Yeah.
so forth. And it's like,
Yep.
you have to trust. You have to
Yep.
trust that there's a process, and you have to trust your process. But that's the key component. You
Mm-hmm.
have to trust it,
That's it.
because if you don't, you're going to get an outcome, and you're going to blame God for your outcome, even though
Yep.
you didn't follow the roadmap. You didn't follow the key map that he gave you for your life. You
Right.
decided you were going to do whatever you wanted to do,
Yep.
that you were going to live in fear. And
Yep.
I say this a lot, and every time I'm about to do it, I stop myself. Any decision I've ever made in fear has always been the wrong decision. 10 times out of 10. Whereas every decision that I've made with faith and move forward,
That's
it's been
it.
a whole different story.
Yep.
And that I truly believe that, and I'll say it the way you told me, that encouraged me. When you're going through all of this and you're feeling like all hell is breaking loose, you're on the verge of a breakthrough. And I was just telling my brother, I was saying a lot of times we feel as if it's so much stuff going on, it's so much stuff being in coming against us, but really it's God preparing you. It's God preparing you. You start going through an uncomfortable season because you're getting ready to elevate. You're getting ready to move past it, you know. And what we don't want to do is mismanage those seasons. And I really like we're saying it's really God saying, let's extend your faith. Come on, you can be faithful over this little thing. Okay, now let's see if you can handle the big thing.
Yep.
And so, yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm listening. I'm listening. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
no, yeah, man. That's that. Just saying that again. Nothing pleases God but faith. It says if you want to please God, it's faith. Faith is what pleases God. So if faith, which is believing without seeing, is if that is what's pleasing God and that is what we're striving for in every situation, is to extend our faith, of course we're going to face situations where our faith is going to be tested. And when we understand that in everything, in life, in business, in partnerships, relationships, when we understand that, we have new lens to look through. And that is part of the reason why I wanted to start the Unleash podcast. And it's because there's so many things that come against us, but we don't know who we are. So we let those things act as if they matter. And so when the Lord woke me up and he said, unleashed, ED. And I was like, God, what does this mean? And so I went online and it said, I typed in unleash, define unleash, and it was like to release, to set free, to be released from. And so I was like, okay, so Lord, you're saying that we're about to be released, we're about to be set free, we're about to be released from whatever. And he said, no, I said unleashed, ED. You've already been set free. You've already been made whole. You've already been put in a position where you can succeed. You just have to believe that you are free. And then he gave me the analogy, brought back to remembrance the analogy about the elephant and how when the elephant is a baby, they put the chain around the elephant so that it wouldn't wander off in the zoo, right, or wander and go everywhere. And they, as it gets older, they extend it and extend it and extend it. But when it gets old, they leave the chain on, but they take it off where the elephant is able to move around freely, but mentally, because the chain is there, they stay within the confound. And it began to show me if the elephant really understood how much power it had, it will go through all the barriers, all the barricades. And I saw a strategy of what the enemy tries to do to all of us whenever we're trying to pursue, run our businesses, accomplish anything. He's like, if I can get them to not know who they are and be settled with who they are and think that they are confined and controlled, then they'll stay where I want them and they won't go to their destiny. But God is like, I've already set you free. You're able to do it. You're able to do all the things that you want to do. So it's
Well,
like you're saying, extending faith.
and the
Mhm.
question is why? Why
Mm.
would why would there be such a desire to hold somebody back from fulfilling
Mm.
their purpose, right? Well,
Yeah.
as I start to progress, get better and better, and realize my ability, it's simple. Because if you
Yeah.
can keep one person down,
Come
they
on.
don't have the ability to tell somebody else
Come on.
of what they can do. I remember there was this one patient, um, I won't say patient, a person,
Mhm. Mhm.
and he was like, man, why am I going through all this? And I
Yeah.
said, well, maybe you're going through all this so you can tell somebody that's going through the same thing you are from a place of knowing,
Yeah.
as opposed to a textbook. Because I think all of us have really been through a lot of
Mhm.
trials and tribulations. But for
Yeah.
me, what all those trials and tribulations and being down, all that's actually done, it's impassioned me. It's given
Mm.
me, because I had to fight through all these
Yeah.
roadblocks, mostly mental in nature. I mean, because
Right.
I generally, I've dealt with anxiety, I've dealt with
Yeah.
depression, I've dealt with all those things.
Yeah.
And so I know when somebody's dealing with depression, it's not
Mhm.
easy to overcome. It's
Right.
not one of those things where you're just like, oh, just go out and have a good time and shake it off. For anybody who's never dealt with depression, it does feel like a weight, like
Yes.
a big, heavy blanket that surrounds you, that makes it
Yes.
hard for you to eat, sleep,
Mhm.
uh, get dressed, take baths.
Yeah.
It's very hard to get motivated when you have that, when you're dealing with that. And it's even harder if you're mixing a little anxiety. It's even harder if you're mixing a
Mhm.
little self-doubt. You cook all those
Yep.
things up. What you end up
Mhm.
creating is somebody who's not living the life that they want to live. And
Mm.
it's self-perpetuating. It just keeps going and
Yeah.
going because you don't have anything, you don't have any basis, right? You don't have anything to
Mhm.
say, well, I'm not accomplishing anything. So if
Right.
you're in this hole yourself and the enemy has you
Mhm.
in this hole, how are you
Yeah.
supposed to bring anybody else up? You won't.
Mm. Right. Right.
But enough about my rants. Tell me more about your business, man. What's the next thing you guys got cooking?
Hey man, we're just striving. I'm currently in my master's program, so
Okay.
I'm rocking that right now too.
Hmm.
But one of my first projects that I had to work on was time management.
Okay.
And so I recently just got to the place that, like you're saying about not watching TV, not getting on social media, doing different things. That's kind of where I am now. I woke up one morning and I was like, you know what? I need to turn off my TV, unplugged all my TVs, and not getting on social media because social media is going to be a distraction for a while. And I said, I need to sit down and revisualize my business um, so that it can grow. And so, what the Lord was just kind of showing me in that was yes, you do have a 9 to 5 job, but there's no reason why when you come home, you can't give energy to growing your business.
Hmm.
And so, I'm reminded of um, the children of Israel when they were in the wilderness. The wilderness is never designed to be your home. They were on their way to the promised land. And so my 9 to 5 is my wilderness. I'm on my way to my promised land. But there are certain things that in the wilderness season you have to let go. You have to be rejuvenated. Um, a, 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 it was a generation that was like that died off during that time. But I like to look at that as old ideologies. There's some old ideologies that I had on how I was going to pursue business, what I wanted to do within my business that has had to die, and now I'm ready and energized to pursue. So what I'm doing now is I'm getting ready to launch not only my podcast, Unleash Podcast. I'm getting ready to launch a magazine, and this is going to be a magazine that's going to be able to build a platform for other entrepreneurs. I really see that I want to talk to other entrepreneurs and put it in a magazine about challenges of just getting started. There's a lot of challenges as to why people don't start, why people start and stop. So I really want to capture that and put it all in a book or in a magazine rather, and come from that angle with success stories too. I want to talk to successful entrepreneurs, get pictures and all of the good stuff to do a magazine article, and for them to start to talk about how just starting affected them, but how they are successful now. And one example is there was a particular person who they wanted to start a YouTube channel, just a simple YouTube channel. And for 5 years, they struggled with putting their videos online because they were trying to overcome self esteem issues. They had insecurities. They didn't believe that they had the right tools to do it. But once they started and was consistent, they saw results. They are now in a place where they're making $10,000 a month posting 2 videos on YouTube because they were consistent. But it took 5 years to get to the point where they even started.
I wonder
So
why
I
did it
want to
take them so
bring,
long?
hey man,
Yeah,
that's
I
that's
know.
that's the thing, overcoming. So that's what I want to bring out. I really want the magazine to be a book that people who are in this place where they are like, I know I have vision, I know I have purpose for something greater, but I just don't know how to start. Or I just don't feel like I can do it. I want you to be encouraged by the magazine and read these success stories and have a different perspective and look at it and say, if this person can do it, then I can do it.
You know
So
what the
that's the
key is?
magazine.
You know what the key
Hmm.
is?
What?
Start.
Come on.
I say that to everybody. Just
Yes.
start. Even if you
Just do
don't
it.
know what, like, even if you don't know, because we get into this thing of
Yeah.
analysis paralysis.
Because we get
Everybody
into this
thinks that
thing of
Yeah.
analysis
when they come out with
paralysis.
their
Everybody
product or
thinks that
whatever it is, it
Yeah.
has
when
to
they
be
come out with their
perfect,
product
ready to
or
Yeah.
roll,
whatever it
fresh out
is,
the
Yeah.
gate.
it
Let me
Yeah.
has
tell
to
you
be
Yeah.
something.
perfect,
It's gonna have
ready to roll,
snip.
fresh
You
out the
want
Yeah.
to
gate.
put your best
Let me
foot
tell you
Yeah.
something.
forward, right?
It's gonna
But you
have
don't
Right.
want to get
snip.
into a
You
point
want to
to
put your
where
best foot
you're not
forward, right?
progressing at
But you
all
don't
Right.
want to get
because you're
into a
waiting on
point
this
to where
perfect
you're
scenario
not
to
progressing at
just
all
go.
because you're waiting
Just
on this
Yes.
get out
perfect
there,
scenario to
put
Yep.
like for
just
example,
go.
I went
Just
Yes.
get
for
out
the first
there.
time, I think it
Put
was
Yep.
like for
earlier
example,
last
I
year, this
went
year, to
for
the
the first
Shrine
Mm.
of
time. I
Black
think it was
Madonna.
earlier
All I
last
Right.
year,
did
this year,
was I
to
just
the Shrine of
Mm.
the
printed up
Black
a
Madonna.
bunch of
What
photos
I
Right.
did
from
was I just
from
printed up
Walgreens, went
a
up
bunch
there
of
and just
photos
put them in things and
from
set up a table.
from
I was so
Walgreens, went up
nervous. It was
there
the first time
and
I had
just
ever
put them
shown
in
my work
things
in
and set
public.
up a table.
And
And
I
I
Yeah.
didn't
was so
sell
nervous
nothing.
because it was the first time
Didn't
I had
make
ever
much
Mm.
shown my work in
context,
public,
but all it
and I
did
didn't
Yeah.
sell
was
nothing.
it
Didn't make
changed
any
my
Mm.
focus.
context,
It made me
but
say,
all it
okay, I need
did
to do
was
this. And then I
it
tried to do
changed my
t-shirts
focus. It made
and
me
then I'll
say,
come
okay, I
back
need
full
to do
circle to the
this.
art.
Then I tried to do
Yeah.
the
Right.
t-shirts, and
It's
and,
just
and then I'm
trial by
coming back full
fire
circle to the
and
That's
just
art.
it.
But
going
Right.
it's just
going
Yeah.
trial by
and
fire,
accepting
and
it,
That's
just
it.
but not
going
sitting
and just
around because I could
going
still
Yeah.
be in the
and
planning stages right
accepting
now
it, but not
Come on.
sitting around because I could
and
still be in the
never
planning stages right now
because once you it's
Come
like getting
on.
hit in the face. Once you get hit in the
and
face, you're like, oh,
never
this ain't really
because
Yep.
that
once you
bad.
it's like getting hit
This
in the
is
face.
Mm-hmm.
Once you get
this
hit in
ain't
the
the
face,
end
you're
of
like,
the
oh,
world.
this
I'm
ain't
not
really
gonna
Exactly.
that bad.
die
This
Mm-hmm.
from
ain't this ain't the end
embarrassment.
of the world.
And
Right.
that's the thing
I'm
I
not
tell
gonna
Exactly.
people all the
die
time.
from a little bit of
We're willing to
embarrassment.
let our dreams
And
go
this is
Right.
the
with us
thing I
to the
tell
grave
people all the
out
time.
of
Mm.
embarrassment.
We're willing to let our
Mm.
dreams go with us to the
That's it.
grave
Embarrassment.
out of
Mm.
You're
That's
embarrassment.
it.
willing to
Mm.
you're not sacrificing
That's
your
it.
dreams for
Embarrassment.
money.
You're
That's
willing
You're
it.
not
to
sacrificing
you're
for
not
your spouse,
sacrificing your dreams
for
for
your
money.
kids. You
You're
Yeah.
not
are willing to
sacrificing for
let
your spouse,
your
for your kids.
desired self go
You are willing
unimagined
to let
because of
Yeah.
your
embarrassment.
desired
Mm.
self go unimagined because
I'm
of
with you.
embarrassment.
I'm with you. I
Mm.
remember there was a guy, he didn't even know that he had what he was saying and how it was going to affect me. But I just mustered up the courage to start doing YouTube videos and posting my videos online. And he came in to my office and he was just talking. And he was like, man, I just, there's all these people online who's talking about doing different stuff. And I want to listen to them, but I don't know if I can believe them. And then he said, he was like, like you. Now he came into my office to talk, and because I was helping him do some stuff with Forex. I was teaching him how to do some stuff with Forex. And I thought about like just posting different videos on YouTube. And he was like you man, if you had a YouTube video, I wouldn't click on that because I wouldn't think you would know anything. Broke my heart. Didn't even know that I was gonna go home that day and post the video. So my point is that you know is like you saying, just getting started. I went through a whirlwind, and it's been 3 years now, and I haven't posted the video. But woke up one morning again and was just, and I ain't sponsoring Nike, but just do it. You just do it. Just put it out there, and I got a great response. On one little video. I haven't posted another one since then. But on one little video, a great response. And it was like, why did I let that affect me all these years? That one little comment. Why did that?
We just focus
Come
on
on.
that kind of stuff. No, I'm
Come on.
with
Yeah. Yeah. We do. And I was embarrassed. I was like, well, it's from him saying that he wouldn't watch me, it turned into nobody will watch me. And I heard somebody they said you're either gonna draw people that are for you or turn away people that are not for you. So I'm like, the whole point of him saying that, he was like, so just do it, just start, because it's just gonna turn away people that's not for you, that ain't gonna purchase your stuff anyway, and it's gonna draw people that is for you. You're gonna be able to be the answer for somebody else.
Right.
So that's why I want to start the magazine. And then, of course, with my business, helping people start their businesses is always a passion of mine. I do digital marketing, so any flyers or websites, that is my mastery website, building a platform for your clients and your customers to go um, to turn a profit, you know. And then this summer, I'll be doing a class teaching other individuals. Um, really, I'm doing this for a younger crowd. I just ran a pilot at the beginning of the year, but teaching them how to build a business in web design, because I believe it's a good trade. I believe you can make good money doing that. The market is not oversaturated because you can reach people that I can't reach. So it's not oversaturated because there are always people in your pool. So I just want to put that out there. Don't let anybody ever tell you that you cannot achieve, or that the markets are oversaturated. No, because there are people assigned to your voice, and people need to hear your voice.
I like that. So tell us where again we can find all this.
So you can find all of this at www.davisinsight, DAVISINSIGHT.com. And you can find me on Instagram at I am Darius Davis. Darius with an E, not an A. DERIUS.
All right. So we're at the hour and 30-minute mark. So generally, even though I usually do it before, but the conversation has been flowing so well. Anybody wants to call in, it's open. The original topic, we went all over the place, but the original topic was doing business with friends. Should you do it? Should you stay away from it? And if you do it, what should be the rules? What should be the guidelines that you adhere to? Or any horror stories you guys got. I am accepting calls. We've been really touching on entrepreneurship, getting outside your comfort zone and just pushing forward and trying to do what you were sent to do, which is usually always a topic of conversation on this podcast, because that's what I like to talk about. And if you don't like talking about it, that's cool. There's other podcasts, other places you can go where you can talk about where you start your own podcast. Not talking about you, Darius, anybody out there. It's super easy. A lot of things are actually super easy when you just decide to put your mind to it. None of these things are out of reach. Like even you hear these millionaires or billionaires talking about, if I can do it, anybody can do it. I'm starting to see more and more that is incredibly true. All it just takes is fortitude and a vision of the reality that you want to make, and just get to making it. Darius, you got anything?
Yeah, man, that's it. That was great. It just takes that unction to get out there and pursue and know who you are and that you have a purpose. So again, going back to the fact that you're either going to draw people that's for you or turn people away that's not for you, but your voice matters, and don't let anybody tell you different. That's it
All
for
right.
me, man.
Yeah, well, this has been great. I think we'll call it a wrap. Darius, thank you so much for coming out today. I hope to have you again, especially when your magazine launches. Come on
Oh
and
yeah.
give me a little bit of more feedback and let me know. Stay in touch, man.
Yes, sir.
All right. I'll holler at you guys later. This is Comparison is the Thief of Joy. Have a great day.